Okay, we're going to begin today's blanket by making a simple slip knot. So we're going to wrap our long working yarn around a short tail, come up from the back, and then pull it tight by hanging on to the working yarn and the tail. You can adjust that by pulling down on the working yarn to get the size loop you need, which is about 2 finger widths. That is our first stitch. And so we are going to do 21 more of those for a total of 22. So we're going to just take our working yarn and we're going to come from the back of the stitch that we just made and we're going to lay it forward, like right on the line. And we're just going to keep doing that until we have a total of 22, including the first stitch. We want all our stitches to be about the same size, about 2 finger widths. Then when we come to the end of the row, for this purposes, I'm not doing 22 stitches. We're going to flip our yarn over and we're going to go through the hole in each one of the stitches that we made, the top hole. So right here, the top hole of each of the stitches that we've just made. And we're going to stick those little loops facing up away from you. These first 2 rows are going to be the most difficult. After this, we're going to be repeating the same process over and over, and it'll be much simpler. Okay, so now we've gone through all of our stitches and we don't want to go through a stitch twice. So this last one that we just made, we're not going to go through that one again because we just made that. So we're going to skip him and we're going to start with the second loop over. This will make sure that your edges of your blanket, the sides of your blanket, are even. And we're going to go through those newly created loops all the way back to the other side. Okay, we don't want to forget that end one. Okay, but that loop we just made, so we're going to skip him again because we don't want to go through it twice, and we're going to start with the second loop. But we will always catch that skipped one on the way back. And you're just going to keep repeating this process until you get to the end of the blanket. There's the one we skipped the first time, so we're going to grab him again, but we just made that first loop. We're not going to do it again. We're going to skip it and start with the second one. The smaller your loops, the tighter your blanket is going to be, but it will also be a little smaller. The larger loops that you make, the bigger your blanket will be, but it won't, it will be looser and have bigger holes. Okay, again, we skipped the one that we just did, and we're started with the second, and we're going back. And then this is, again, the same process that we're going to repeat until we get to the end of our blanket. Just pulling those loops through from the back to the front, and then setting them facing away from us. There was a knot in the yarn there that threw me off for a second, but we're just gonna continue without it. Okay, going back again, we're not gonna do, or that first loop we just made, so we're not gonna do it again. We're gonna start with the second. Okay, for purposes of the video, we're going to pretend that this is the last row of our blanket, and we want to make sure we have 2 lengths of our blanket of yarn left. You're going to need that much because we're going to double it going back. So we're going to take the first 2 loops, and we're going to come in front, and we're going to go through both of those loops and make a new loop. Now that big new loop is going to be a little bit bigger so that it reaches over to the loop next to it, and we're going to bring our working yarn through both again and make a new one. Go to the next loop, working yarn through both, go to the one next to it, working yarn through both, pick up the one next to it, working yarn through both, pick up the one next to it, working yarn through both, pick up the one next to it, working yarn through both, pick up the one next to it, working yarn through both, pick up the one next to it. And again, those new loops, you want to make them a little bit bigger so that they reach over to the loop next to it. Okay, so now we have finished. And we're going to go ahead and cut our yarn, and we're going to pull that yarn all the way through and pull it tight. Then we're just going to wrap it back a few stitches, and then we're going to burn it, burn that end right onto our blanket. And using this burn method would be the same way if you need to connect, if you run out of yarn and you need to connect a new skein. Just light one side on fire and then push the 2 ends together. Okay, now that's how we finish. Now we're going to take any tails that we have left. This was the tail from the beginning of the blanket, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to wrap it around a few of the loops and then burn it to the blanket. That way we don't have any big knots from tying yarn together, and it'll be nice and finished.